Hi, everybody. It's me, Barb, and welcome to the introduction for part two. Doesn't actually start for a while, but I just want to give you a chance to get all your ducks in a row for this next section that we're going to be working on. So I'm basically just going to walk you through this introduction. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to listen to someone blathering on and on, if you read this, I don't think there's anything in here that you're not going to get from what I'm saying. The only thing that I will remind you of is that there's a link to the sheet that has everybody's book choices in it, and that's something that you're going to need to be aware of. All right, other than that, you can just read if you like, but I will read it to not read it to you, but perform it. Good Lord. Okay, so this is one of the best parts of my summer. Okay, so Christy's taking you through the first half. You're all good. You know lots. And so now we can just relax and read some books and talk about them. I want to be clear up front that I give you a lot of ancillary articles and things like that. You are not you need to read one article. You can read all the articles. But don't it's very important in this class that because it's a summer class and some people feel like, well, it's summer, I should just do every single thing. That's fine. If that's your jam, if that's what you like, go nuts. I just took a young adult class and I very much did too much, but it was fun and I loved it. So anyway, what I will say is keep track of your time. If you're somebody who has a lot of summer obligations, don't hurt yourself doing this class. One article is fine enough to give you some fodder for the discussion board. And if you're having a rough week and you just want your fodder to be responses or supportive comments, that not every week, but that works too. So we'll look at the rubric in a minute. So we're looking at books that are middle grade through, I would say, even new adult. I think there's a couple of titles here that's sort of young adults, but like heading into college, out of high school, but for the most part, our sweet spot is young adult. If you are someone who is in a school already and your school, skews younger, you're going to want to look more at the middle grade books. But what we're going to be talking about is applicable. It's mostly about topics and how to be aware of certain issues in young adult and in schools, in school libraries, and hopefully the way that they blend together. So I'm a huge YA nerd. It's a lot. It's a lifelong passion for me. So I've chosen books that I love, and I have also not chosen a textbook because I'm currently in another program where I'm buying textbooks and using them for like a week and really feeling like I don't know, not getting my money's worth. But School Library Journal is so many of the articles are from there. And even though it is a little pricey, I think I pay like $140 a year. It's worth it. When you maybe not before you're in a school, but once you're in a school, you need to it's a no-brainer. It is what will get you through. MSLA, School Library Journal. Those are the two things that will make you a great librarian, whether you want to or not. There are a couple of books that you can certainly look at and try to access. And I know Noble has some of them, Salem State has them in the library. There's Michael Cart's Young Adult Fiction from Romance to Realism. It's pretty good. Michael Cart's one of the big names. The one that I read was for my class that I took was Young Adult Literacy in Action by Rose Brock. And it was also, it was newer, but a lot of the books that they recommend, like there's so many good books. We're looking at very new stuff. I think 3 years maybe is the oldest book that we had that I've chosen for mine. Anyway, there are also some bookless books, which are super out of date in that what's there is great, but there's so much more available. So I've got Anita Silvey, who's like the queen of children's literature. She's got 500 great books for teens. Nancy Pearl, who's a huge person, has Book Crush for teens. Not a huge person. I realize how that sounds. Nancy Pearl is very famous as a librarian. Book Crush for kids and teens, which is a cute one. Then Teen Genre Reflecting, which is pretty interesting as well. If you want to take a look at those, they might help you find things for the blog portion of our course. And, but honestly, going to Barnes & Noble or your local independent bookstore, my local independent bookstore, Copper Dog in Beverly, their YA section is robust. I love it there. But your public library, and if you have a school library, your school library, but looks like that ship may have sailed. It's June 17th at the public library. If you've got a teen librarian, which good God, I hope you do, they're going to be a great resource for you as well in finding things. So you heard me mention a blog. What's this blog, you say? So the blog is your personal record of what you're doing. The only thing you have to put in there is a list of 3 to 5 books that you have found on whatever topic we're looking at. And again, the topics are, each week I have sort of a, historical fiction, romance, sci-fi fantasy, award winners, something else and something else. It's in the syllabus, you can find it. But within that, we also have a subgroup. So like for horror. So for horror, we look at scary books, but we also look at realistic fiction, books that are issues driven. And so you can go whichever way you want. What I really want for this class is for you to be exploring where your passion is. And I hope that's not too optimistic, because I hope that you do have a passion for what your students are going to be reading. But, look at the areas that you love, but also the areas that you might need a little push in. I never read sci-fi and fantasy until, I was probably 45. Whenever Graceland came out, that is an older one, but the graphic novel is only a couple years old, so I'm counting it as new. But I never read it as a kid, and I found that it's become one of my really favorite genres. So anyway, your blog is for your exploration. I believe that I put a little, so title, author, 1-sentence plot summary, doesn't have to be super detailed, just so you know what it's about, where you found it, and why you chose it to be highlighted, what appeal will it have for teenagers. You don't have to have read these books. These are books that you're getting your hands on. And honestly, what I love about this assignment is I get so many recommendations every summer. So when I come back in the fall, it's real easy for me to sort of put together a nice new buy with all these books. All right. So let's see. Oh, when you're doing this blog, and you can also, like, if you do TikTok or Instagram or what have you, anything where you can send me a direct link to a specific post. So in Canva, or in Canvas rather, although Canva is going to become familiar to you this summer too. In Canvas, you have the option for your blog. The only option you have is to put in a URL. I want that to be specific to the post for that week. Don't make me go looking around and sorting through trying to get my hands on it. You're just not going to get credit until I get the right URL. So make it specific to that post. You can do that with any of these formats. All righty, then the discussion. I love the discussion because I stay out of it. Like, you're probably not gonna, unless I absolutely can't help myself, I'll go over the discussion in the weekly video, but I'm not going to be on the boards because it's your discussion. I want it to feel like that. So, I mean, somebody needs to like break the seal and put up a post about content, but it doesn't have to be excessive. It can be, I read this article and this was the main thing that I thought about. As a matter of fact, don't put, like, say that you read an article and it gave you 3 amazing ideas about something that you want to talk about. Do 3 separate posts with each idea, because we do threaded posts. And eventually in my classes, it does become really, if you've taken a class before, you know it, you guys, help the slower kids, get it going. But I want it to be where you're having a discussion. So there are 2 discussions in this class. The first one is on the articles. And what's nice about it, you don't have to read everything, but somebody pretty much reads everything. So not one individual, but like between everybody going and looking in, we're going to get a little something about each of the articles. So you'll get the gist of it and decide if you want to go back and read it. And then we have the book discussion groups, which it can go either way with these. Some weeks you get 3 people who loved or hated the book, and then it's really fun. I would like, if you love the book, go nuts. Like, don't hold back. If you didn't like the book, I'd like you to wait and talk about that piece of it at the end, because sometimes if somebody goes in and has a really articulate reason that they hated it, everybody else is gonna be like, oh crap, yeah, oh, I get that. So I don't want it to like shut everything down. And also, but it's fine not to like the book. And if you need to vent, you can hit me, go in your blog, or you can email me. What were you thinking? And that's fine. And then at the end, like okay, so we have, I believe, 10 days of discussion. I'm trying to make it a little bit longer. You have to post at least 3 different days for each of the discussions. Even if you're just putting in, nice job, Jennifer, or whatever, I need you to come in and visit. That's something that goes throughout the week. Everything else, you can do it all one day of the week as you like. My point, and I did have one, is that I want you to have read the book. If you've read the whole book, if at all possible, at least by, I believe we start on Wednesdays, maybe. I should have checked that before I started the video, but it's on the board. Whatever day we start, within those first 3 days, I'd love it if you'd start, because you are really dependent on a small group of people for the discussion. Okay, so I love it. Sometimes it works. Usually, I would say 85% of the time, it's a solid B. It works great. Every once in a while, everybody hates the book, or one person hates it and everybody else loves it, whatever. It's fine. You're allowed to have opinions. And this is a place where you can express them. You can. Like, they're my babies and I love them all. Don't hurt them. No, it's fine. Okay, then your projects. Okay, and the reader's response projects, and it looks like a lot. And I'm trying to see if I wrote it down. Put it down here, maybe. Yes. Okay, so you have 6 different types of assignments. The first assignment is a bye week. That's everybody's favorite. That's the week that you still read the book. You still read the book. You still do the discussion, but you don't have to create anything beyond that. 1 week, you have to work with a partner or a group. You can work with a group as well. If your whole group wants to get together and do something, I'm A-okay with that. Collaboration is a huge piece of our job. And if you can't collaborate, like, there's a difference between group work, which I know some people don't like. I actually don't like it because I'm that person who just steamrolls. I'm sure this comes as a huge surprise to anyone who's ever met me, but I'm the one who's like, okay, we're doing it this way. You do this, never mind. I'll do it all. Just put your names on it. I'm not great at group work in an academic area, but collaborating with colleagues. I mean, like, the reaching out, that sort of awkward, like, do they want to do something with me? We gotta work with that all the time. So you have to find somebody. I've put email addresses. I will put email addresses for each week's content for everybody who filled in the form. If you did not fill in the form, can you shoot me your email address? Send me an email with your Salem State email address embedded in the text so I can edit it and put it in there, because not everybody, I mean, it's the same format, but some people are not the first Susan Smith in Salem State, so they might have numerals and stuff. All right, so bye week with partner or partners, then audiovisual. Ideally, you're going to film something, a book trailer, a book talk, a review. You don't have to have your face there if you don't want to. There are plenty of different tools that you can use, but something where you're creating something audiovisual. Then one is a curriculum connection. You're going to look at state standards, and you need to go into the standards and find some. They don't have to be ELA standards. They can be history, hell, they can be science. I don't care. Any of the state standards that you can tie whatever you've read to. So the week where we talk about, I think I call it nutritious books, that's a good week for this one. Excuse me, because it lends itself to curriculum, but you can find curriculum connections for just about anything in here. Then, what else? Literary criticism. So 3 to 5 page paper looking at the book as a work of literature. And I've got a specific rubric that I'm not going to go into for that, but it's not extensive, but it'll tell you what I want, 3 to 5 pages. And then in place of your literary criticism, if you'd like the last week, no, actually, never mind, I changed that. And then finally, and this one is visual representation. And this one was new last year. And some people had a hard time with it because I think, what did I say? 10-word maximum. If you're drawing comics, you can put text in there or if you're using like Pixton or something like that, you can have a little bit more text. But really, I want it to be visual. I want it to be something, that's eyeball-y. And I did this for another class. Nobody asked me to, but I just nerded out with this YA class I took before. And I used Starry AI, which is one of those artificial intelligence bot things. And what it does is you tell it what you want to see, and it creates a picture for you. So I gave it specific scenes from books, And I did an amazing one. You know what? On week 7, I'll go through and show you the one that I did for Everything Sad is Untrue. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Some of them were ridiculously bad, but every once in a while, boy, it would really hit. And it gives you like a series of 3 or 5 illustrations for the stories. It was so much fun. And then, so if you do that, then put up the illustrations, and you can actually put them up in the chat too, because I think people would really like to see them. But also let me know what your what the prompt was that you gave. And if they don't have to be good, like if you write a good prompt based on what you saw and the machine screwed up, that's not on you, that's on the machine. So put up that garbage, because we'll all enjoy the sort of schadenfreude of knowing that we could do better than AI. All right, so I believe that that's everything for that essay rubric. Oh, final project. Okay, so you've got a final project, which is it's producing a literacy promotion event. So summer reading, writer's workshop, book club, literature bowl, some sort of reading contest, readathon, if you'd like to do that. Anything that you think could be used to promote literature for middle school or high school, or a combo if that's your choice. So these are the pieces you have to have. It has to have a diverse list of 15 YA books. It can have more, but it needs to have at least that many. If you want to have a couple from like something you've read from here, that's okay, as long as it fits within the genre. This is a great place you can pull from your blog. That's fine too. You can focus on something specific. And you have to say, there should be some discussion of why these particular books were chosen. Okay, it needs to be real world. So if you need $5,000 to get it done, you're going to need to find a $5,000 grant. I will let you know that MSLA has a couple of grants that might work for this. ALA has grants. You don't have to actually win the grant or even put in a grant proposal, but you have to go and look and see where you might find something. It's not that hard to Google educational grants. All right. Yeah, assume that you're going to get it, because you're great. And then it should be, it can be directed to, it can be school-wide or it can be a small group, but be clear about who you're targeting and why. And then it should be 3 to 5 pages in length. That includes the book list too. So it's not, you don't have to write a ton of text. You can use whatever, if you want to use a PowerPoint to show me, that's fine. I'm trying to think, if you want to do a video or something like that, I mean, you can absolutely do that, generally written out. You have everything there. Make sure that I am able to access, anything. When you turn your stuff in, make sure that it's shared with everyone. I will give you, there's a couple of articles in the final project module that might be able to help you. There's a really 50 ways to promote teen reading in your school library is a nice starting point if you're not sure. This project is something that hopefully, if you're reading ahead, if you're reading a book ahead, that last week, you're going to be done with your reading and you can devote it to putting this together. But be thinking about it throughout the week. Like I would try to decide by maybe, week 10, have an idea of what it's going to be, just so that as you're going through the other things, you'll be thinking about that. All righty. Oh, couple of things that I forgot to mention. There's a discussion rubric here. There's the essay rubric, final project rubric I went over. When you're doing the book discussion, we're all in the same group. So make sure that unless you're replying in a thread, make sure that you write which book you're discussing at the top of it. Spoilers are fine. Absolutely, except for the last week when everybody's reading something different and you're kind of trying to sell it to your classmates. Spoilers are fine. So don't worry about that. Gosh, I probably talked for 45 minutes, but hopefully that's everything you need to know. Always email me if you like. I don't know if anybody's going to ALA. I'm going to ALA. Have I mentioned it? I feel like I mention it all the time. If you are, my number's in the syllabus. Shoot me a text. Let's meet up. I'm very excited about it. All right. That's all I've got for you. I will see you at the beginning of Module 7. All right. Have a great summer. Bye.